Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Peter Jennings. I go by CSURAM88 across the daily fantasy industry, and excited to be doing another lineup review on PGA. This week we had the Players Championship, and I will be reviewing two lineups. I'll be reviewing multiple lineups, but two specific tournaments, the 100K Thunderdome, as well as the 400K Pressure Putt, both of which were won by Ponosaurus. Big congrats to Ponosaurus for an amazing weekend, and I'm sure he's having a fun week celebrating all the success that he had. So let's dive into my team first in the Thunderdome, which I'm trying to do every week. The first player I took was Emiliano Grillo, who I have no problem with at all, even after the result of the miscut. This miscut actually cost me quite a bit of, it was a lot of equity that I lost with Grillo. He was on all my good teams, and he makes a cut. I'm in a different circumstance. So frustrating he missed it, but have no regrets on the process. He was one of my favorite plays. Colin talked about him quite a bit on the podcast as well. Thought he had great course fit, and in general, I'm very bullish on him. And that will be hopefully one of the only times I use that word. I got the feedback that I use the word bullish too much, and I will definitely be removing that from my vocabulary, or at least removing it from excessive use. So if you're playing the drinking game, hopefully you won't be wasted from the B word this time around. But Billy Horschel is the next player that I had here, and interesting, you should know, this team was one of my cash game teams, and originally I had Matt Kuchar and Sergio Garcia over Hideki Matsuyama and Billy Horschel. I got off Kuchar because of the news on Twitter that he didn't even show up for the ping pong tournament at the Players, which I think he wins every year. I know he's the best ping pong player on tour, so that was concerning to me. But apparently he was fine. Maybe I misread that. If anyone has any feedback there, certainly am curious to know. I tried to do a lot of research on it, but couldn't find much more than just the tweet, which the entire DFS golf community went nuts over. So I removed Kuchar from my cash game lineups, and for this specific team, I needed the savings when I went up from Kuchar to Horschel, so I had to drop from Sergio to Matsuyama. And I thought it was actually a nice fit here in the Thunderdome, where I generally play a pretty cash game type team. At least I'm taking the golfers I think have the most equity, but anytime I think there's a guy who might be a little more contrarian, I like to go that way. So I thought Sergio would be the highest owned golfer out with Stenson, and he ended up being a little lower owned than Stenson, but I thought Horschel would be relatively low owned just because of roster construction. But loved him. He's from the area. I think he was a great course fit here, and he ended up being a pretty nice play. So I liked Billy Horschel quite a bit. He made the cut. Actually had to take a weird penalty where he moved an immovable object, which was just a weird ruling which cost him 2 strokes, but fortunately made the cut and played pretty well. Had a nice eagle for me on 16 on Sunday, which swung a lot of stuff for me, so that was nice. Zach Johnson, really, really great performance on Thursday and Friday when the course was set up in an easy way. The greens were really receptive. He struggled mightily on the weekend. Loved him. Thought he should have been way higher owned than 20% in this tournament. I thought he was a borderline lock with Russell Knox and Stenson. Elite course history for me, great course fit, and it just didn't play out well on the weekend for him. No regrets on the pick, and actually pretty happy I had him at only 20%. Russell Knox at 45% owned, the most heavily owned guy outside of Stenson. This play was very easy. I had the most exposure to Knox of anyone throughout all my volume. I faded Stenson, Sergio, even Grillo in tournaments. I never really faded Russell Knox. So he's a guy that just had such great line movement, elite green regulation talent, one of the best iron players out there. And I thought the course fit and just everything was so perfect. And then when you see the line move like it did, he becomes a no-brainer play. So line movement's huge, and Knox was heavily owned because of it, and rightfully so. We'll talk about him more at the pressure putt because his 9 on 17 was absolutely devastating for me. And speaking of 17, shout out to Will Wilcox. Fucking badass to see him make that ace on 17. Sorry for the language, but it was just one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And obviously the whole DFS community loves Will Wilcox. He dedicated his Sunday round to us. It's just great to watch him play, and it was so fun to see him have an iconic moment there on 17. So Hideki Matsuyama was my next play. Disappointing finish, I guess, for him, but played incredibly well. The whole weekend was a big part of having good DFS lineups. One thing I will say, it might be something to watch. He does face a lot of pressure from Japan just in general. He has like the whole country's weight on his back. I mean, the media talks to him after every round, every practice session, and there's like 3 outlets. So he has a lot of attention on him. I think he handles it relatively well. They said that he used to be really shy, and he's kind of opening up more now, but that's definitely a lot of additional pressure that I think some of these guys don't have. And on a Sunday, I don't know. Again, this is really subjective and a lot of speculation, but it might not be the best thing. And then Henrik Stenson, 50% owned. No regrets here at all. I mean, everyone was tilting about him. I mean, that Thursday round, he went out Thursday morning when Jason Day shoots a 63 and somehow shoots a 77. I mean, it couldn't have had easier conditions, and he just forgot how to golf. Something happened. I have no idea. He was a lock for me. Perfect course fit, great course history, elite price, elite line movement. I mean, what else do you want? It's frustrating to have him in all my cash game lineups and for him to miss the cut so badly, but that's golf, and no regrets on him. And I feel good about this team. Another losing week in the Thunderdome. At some point, I'll do my tallies. I'm pretty much free rolling the season because I got second during the Masters for 100K, but it's a lot of fun and certainly really tough competition in this 5K. A lot of great minds, a lot of great players, but I'll be doing it every week, and hopefully can get some cashes going again here soon. Just real quick look at Ponosaurus' lineup. He had Jason Day here, Sergio, Leishman, Molinari, Reed, and Vegas. Really solid lineup. I like Patrick Reed actually quite a bit this week, and he missed the cut. A lot of guys that -1 number missed the cut, including Jordan Spieth. But really well-constructed lineup. Molinari and Day just kind of propelled him to victory here. So great lineup. And as you'll see here in the pressure putt, Ponosaurus also won. So we'll look at his lineup as well. Day, Kuchar, Lee, McGirt, Rose, and Summerhays. Great team. All guys owned under 10% with the exception of Jason Day. I think that's really sharp in a tournament that's really top-heavy. It was 100K to first, as you can see here, $400 buy-in. So with this payout curve, it's very, very top-heavy. So important to identify that and make the right adjustments. So great lineup from him. That's probably my biggest critique of my lineups is I had a lot of guys who are, a little bit higher owned. And in general, I was on the chalkier guys. So an adjustment I'll have to make for tournaments like this in the future, but I still feel pretty good about the players I picked in my process this week. This is my best team, and what I referenced before with Griot missing the cut cost me a ton of equity. Had so many 5 and 6 teams where Griot was the guy who ended up costing me because a good chunk of my core got through with the exception of Stenson, but I faded him quite a bit in this tournament because of those ownership reasons. So Griot, I mean, just sucks. This team had a lot of hope, a lot of heartbreak here too. I was actually winning the tournament on Saturday at the very end of the tournament, and then Russell Knox, and I was winning by a good margin. Russell Knox then made the 9 on 17, and that dropped me to second place going into Sunday, but I only had 5 of 6 through, and I was fading guys who had 6 of 6 through, and there's a lot of good combos out there. And definitely didn't get a great result on Sunday with the exception of Knox's round. No one really blew up either, but, 5th place, can't complain too much. I did win money in this tournament. Again, it was a pretty marginal week. I bricked the Thunderdome, and then in cash games, I was kind of average, so it just depended on my opponent's lineup. So I hope this helps you guys. And I'm really excited about PGA going forward. I think I'm learning new stuff every week. Certainly making mistakes, like I think a lot of other people are as well, just because we're all kind of learning golf and trying to understand variance and how to apply it, within DFS golf, and what stuff is noisy, what stuff is results oriented, what is actually predictive. It's all a really fun challenge. So I'm excited to continue to play the Thunderdome and these big tournaments, and hopefully the lineup reviews will help you guys have success as well. As always, looking to see more Fantasy Lab subscribers at the top of the leaderboard.